The story kicks off with a well-mannered boy cheerfully greeting a cute girl, admitting he's late. She, wearing an irritated expression, demands a proper apology. From a distance, a few girls notice them and immediately recognize him as Ruff's Yuki, suspiciously wondering if the girl might be his girlfriend. Yuki, despite apologizing, boasts that she should be grateful he arrived only 15 minutes late, considering how many screaming fans he had to escape. She first stares into his eyes with a shocked, flustered look, before quietly pulling him toward a quiet corridor. The moment they're alone, he gently kisses her, hoping to soften her mood. When he pulls away, he freezes. She suddenly leans in and kisses him back, deeper than he expected. Her unexpected closeness makes him stumble, his face burning crimson as she tugs lightly at his clothes. Seeing how flustered he is, she steps back, looks into his eyes, and calmly asks for a proper apology for his lateness. His heart races, cheeks glowing pomegranate red, and he looks away until she moves in again, cupping his face, ready to kiss him once more. Flustered and breathless, he finally blurts out a sincere apology, the only thing she wanted. With a soft smile, she forgives him. A few minutes later, noticing that he's still embarrassed, she teasingly asks if he's really okay and reminds him to thank her for hiding him in the alley from his fans. He nods immediately. The narrative revolves around Yuki, who keeps losing to her girlfriend, and she knows it. He first met her a year ago at a drinking party he hosted, hoping to pick out a beautiful girl to take home. Every girl there was practically bleeding excitement at seeing him in person. As a dancer YouTuber from Ruff, the group that gained millions of subscribers in just 3 years, Yuki had become incredibly famous and unbelievably rich. But that night, he wasn't impressed by anyone. When his manager whispered about the long-haired girls prepared especially for him, they all blushed and fidgeted under his gaze, yet none caught his interest. Yuki, after all, has had nothing but terrible experiences with past girlfriends. He recalls his girl showed him a news article, a photo of him beside a girl, plastered with a bold headline accusing him of secret dating. Shocked and uneasy, he snatched the phone and hurried to explain she was just a friend. But the memory stung. Every past girlfriend had abandoned him, complaining he didn't message them hourly, accusing him of losing interest, or assuming he'd leave them just as he supposedly left others. No matter how sincerely he tried to explain himself, the lack of trust always pushed them away. That night, feeling stupid and humiliated by a rumor so easily believed, Yuki quietly cried into his drink. And the worst part? The very next day, his ex launched a couple's channel with her new boyfriend, publicly dragging his name through the mud. Seeing him silently crying, his assistant hurried over in concern. Yuki quickly brushed it off, blaming it on pollen, and she simply reminded him to be careful. A girl named Yurina catches his attention. His assistant offers to introduce him, and she responds cheerfully that with so many stunning women around, she feels out of place and was thinking of leaving her honesty and gentle nature immediately strike Yuki. It feels rare, refreshing, almost disarming. As Yurina walked toward the exit, she glanced back at him, just a brief look, but enough to hypnotize him completely. Without thinking, he excused himself from the crowd, threw on a hoodie and cap, and slipped out to follow her down the street, keeping his face hidden. All he could think about was that last, unexpectedly bold goodbye glance she gave him. Intrigued, he reached out, trying to take her hand, only to freeze when she instantly pulled away and began walking faster. He smiled to himself, imagining how embarrassed she would be if she realized he was following her. But as he watched her walk, practically sprint, like a trained athlete, his amusement turned into shock. He hurried his pace to keep up. She finally stopped in front of a police station. Then, with a sly, almost wicked smile, she turned around, only to freeze the moment she recognized him. "Yuki-kun?" she gasped, bowing slightly as she apologized. She had assumed he was some shady stalker trailing her. Before he could respond, a group of nearby girls suddenly recognized him, squealing with excitement. Realizing the situation could turn chaotic fast, Yuki grabbed Yuriko's hand and broke into a run. When they finally reached the luxurious restaurant, Yuki was panting and sweating, while Yurina looked thrilled, amazed that he had managed to secure a room in such an elite hotel so effortlessly. As he caught his breath, Yuki set up his phone out of habit, recording casually to check which poses looked best for his content. Yuriko watched him with shining eyes, impressed by how passionate and dedicated he was to his work. Finding her pure and sincere, he decided to talk about relationships. When she shyly admitted she had no boyfriend, he gently asked about her type. With a flushed face, she confessed she liked strong masculine men like Yuki-san. Her honesty warmed him. He leaned in a little closer and admitted he didn't have a girlfriend either. He explained, almost awkwardly, how terrible he had been at relationships, how no one stayed for long, how girls quickly grew bored, and how he eventually found comfort in focusing on his YouTube career again. Curious about their relationship, Yuki mischievously thought he could make her fall for him in an instant by showing his charm. Leaning in, he lightly brushed her cheek with his finger, only to freeze when she rejected him immediately, saying a boy who gets bored of girls so easily isn't realistic. Noticing the sudden shift, Yuki tried to explain, but his hesitant words only made things worse. Her teasing gaze on his flushed face, highlighting his worry about the longevity of their relationship, made him gulp. His embarrassment grew when she suddenly grabbed his phone from the tripod and saw the articles he had been reading about good couples, bad couples, and why relationships fail. She teased him mercilessly for all his research. Then she noticed he had also checked his ex's couple channel. Yuki snatched the phone back, insisting it was for his upcoming content projects. When he saw his phone was off, his embarrassment deepened. She giggled, pointing out that at least she hadn't done anything unethical by snooping on someone else's phone. He felt guilty and thoroughly outplayed. When she teasingly suggested he hide his flustered face from others, he only grew more puzzled and even more flustered. With a heavy heart and crimson cheeks, Yuki felt both shocked and puzzled by his racing heart and warm, flustered emotions. As she was leaving, she transferred him money, admitting it was her fault. Wanting to redeem himself after the earlier embarrassing moments, he called out to her, hoping to show a cooler, composed side. At that moment, the rain began to fall, and he, forgetting about his fever, started sneezing. She looked back immediately. Despite his pounding heart, he controlled himself and offered for her to join him in the restaurant, since neither had an umbrella and it was freezing. He meant to impress her, but realizing how over the top it sounded, he quickly smiled awkwardly, pretending it was just a joke. He was even more shocked when she agreed, on the one condition that he first buy some medicine. At the restaurant, Yuki finally took a shower, his mind racing with thoughts. Was everything going well or badly? Exhausted from overthinking, he tried to calm himself, savoring the rare moment of being alone with her. Stepping out in a bathrobe, he immediately apologized for using the washroom first. Without replying, she gently held his hand, concerned, and began drying his wet hair as the warm dryer and her soft fingers brushed his scalp. Yuki felt utterly mesmerized by the intimacy of the moment. Once his hair was dry, she happily moved to leave, but he stopped her, flustered. She teased him for being immature. He denied it, then, impulsively, grabbed her by the shoulders and guided her onto the bed. Leaning close, he whispered for her to fulfill the purpose of her visit. Nervously, she tried to resist, but he gently held her fists. Leaning in, she froze, then asked quietly if he wasn't recording. He looked confused. Chuckling at his expression, she revealed she was filming from the side angle, assuring him it was fine. Suddenly, Yuki noticed a news article about a sexual assault allegation involving him, including a leaked video from a woman. Panic-stricken, he jumped back. She sat up, switched off her phone, and giggled, teasing him for being fooled twice in one day. Yuki stared at her, eyes wide in disbelief, when she suddenly pushed him onto the bed and leaned close. Flustered and nervous, he clenched his fists and gritted his teeth, trying to hide his embarrassed face. Calmly, she reminded him that she liked strong, masculine men. Even more flustered, he watched as she gently touched his face, tucked him under the blanket, and placed a pillow under his head. Smiling softly, she advised him to get a warm, restful sleep since he already had a cold, and then she left. Yuki remained stunned, still unaware she had noticed his fever. When she had asked him to buy medicine, he spotted a bag on the table. Inside were cold and fever remedies she had thoughtfully bought for him. Tucked in was an invitation card with her full name, Yamaguchi Yurino, her line ID, and a suggestion to call her for a date. At the bottom of the bag, he noticed something. Confused and overwhelmed, he shouted in frustration, unsure whether she was trying to make him happy or torment him. Actually, Yamaguchi Yurino had noticed Yuki 3 years ago during a live interview. Reporters pressed him about his struggles with relationships, and though he tried to hold back, he ended up crying. She saw it live on her phone, not recording the video, but taking a few screenshots of his tearful eyes. That raw, pure emotion left a lasting impression on her, and from that day, Yuki seemed completely changed. Curious, she started following his career, and through this, she grew close to one of his juniors, who eventually invited her to a drinking party hosted by Yuki. Excited, she attended. She remembered his genuine emotions that night, when he left the party, stood flustered in front of the police station, when she grabbed his phone from the tripod, and even when he reacted shyly to her confession that she liked manly guys like him. His cute, teary-eyed reactions were exactly the sincere moments she had been missing for the past 3 years. Now, walking back, she hesitates, unsure if he will ask her on a date. But Yuki, blushing, quickly replies, inviting her and letting her choose the place. Although Yurina pretends to be innocent, Yuki suspects she might actually be a little mischievous. After exchanging phone numbers, he nervously checks the message where he invited her on a date, and immediately worries she could be one of his haters. As a famous dancer and YouTuber, he's made plenty of girls upset before. He even wonders if she might be a friend of an ex, so he gets her Instagram from Takagi. Relief floods him when he finds her account filled with passionate admiration for the rough group. She has posted countless photos of him, shared her own pictures posing with his poster on her wall, and clearly adores him. Flushed and thrilled, Yuki rolls on his bed, staring at her profile, seeing how devoted she is, and how genuinely she likes him. Leaves him excited, captivated, and completely mesmerized. He desperately keeps checking his phone for her reply, on the way to his club, during practice, at lunchtime, and even back at home. A whole week passes with no response. Confused, he double-checks her ID and message, frustrated, thinking he might have been fooled again. Determined not to lose to her, he waits patiently. Then his heart skips a beat when she finally replies, apologizing that she was asleep. Realizing she had been teasing him, he grins mischievously and texts back, suggesting they meet on the 14th of the month. On the day, they meet in front of a 5-star restaurant, greeting each other warmly. Yuki smiles, sharing his wish to spend time with her inside. Adjusting his phone to record, he teases her gently, this time not to expose her, but to capture her flustered reactions like she had done to him. Seeing her enter the restaurant so excitedly, he wonders if she's faking her composure for the camera. Amused, he subtly adjusts the camera inside, ready to playfully capture her reactions while keeping the mood light and fun. Watching her scan the menu, he mischievously waits, hoping to catch her true reactions. He hadn't expected to bring her to such a fancy restaurant, but as she excitedly and calmly discusses the different dishes she wants to try, his eyes widen. Her solo gourmet enthusiasm, debating what she likes most and wanting to try everything, leaves him genuinely surprised. He carefully suggests sharing some dishes, but she glances at him in shock, seemingly forgetting he's there, but is happy for his help in finishing the food. Yuki is left speechless, embarrassed by how thoroughly she ignored him. Though slightly disappointed at missing a chance to capture her flustered reaction, he decides to wait until the food arrives. Then he slyly suggests a spot the difference game. Seeing her embarrassed reaction, he smiles mischievously. After all, most mature ladies wouldn't enjoy such a childish game. But she calmly replies that she already knows all the answers, having played it many times before, foiling his plan to tease her once again. She suggests he play the spot the difference game on his own. At first, Yuki firmly denies, but as he struggles to spot the differences in the pictures, he notices her watching him so intently that he becomes flustered, unable to find more than 10. Hesitantly, he asks for her help. At first, he feels embarrassed, but her polite smile makes him blush. When she seriously asks why he's giving up so early, her gaze presses on him, making him even more self-conscious. Thinking she might be mocking him, he looks down, cheeks burning and sweat forming on his face. She cups her face in both hands, gazing at him with affectionate amusement, clearly delighting in his flustered reaction. Finally, he feels a wave of relief when the waitress arrives with a fresh seafood salad, giving him a moment to catch his breath. While she eats delightfully, he tastes the food and finds it delicious. She thanks him cheerfully for the date and asks if he truly liked her gift, but he misunderstands and snaps that no one would appreciate such a gift. She instantly feels guilty, worried that the cold medicines and warmers weren't enough. Realizing his mistake, he quickly reassures her that the remedies were thoughtful. Seeing her visibly pleased, he buries his face in his hands, trying to embarrass her, but she teases him right back. Noticing her confused yet steadfast expression, he clenches his fists on the table, resolved to end her playful act with one final move. With a mischievous glint, he asks her to cover her own bill, expecting resistance. To his surprise, she happily opens her wallet, paying without owing him a single yen. Flustered, he excuses himself to the restroom. Sitting there, he anxiously wonders if she is truly a fan. Leaving the restaurant, he resolves not to meet her again, but seeing her genuinely enjoy the food subtly prompts him to invite her out once more. As he walks seriously, thinking she might still be testing him, she signals a desire for a sincere, authentic relationship. He stops, curious, and asks why she didn't reply to his messages for a week. Surprising her, she reminds him of his own confession about easily getting bored with girls, explaining she withheld her replies to create suspense and make herself more intriguing to him. He stares at her in disbelief as she excitedly shows him the video, explaining she saved it on her phone while he was in the restroom. She teasingly reminds him how he had made such videos to prank the girls who teased him. Embarrassed, he realizes she's watched all of his content, even the videos he had deleted. Recalling his own rule against using anyone else's phone, he angrily grabs her shoulder to scold her. She calmly confesses she has a similar rule, erasing all night memories, and he's shocked at her unusual rules. She waves goodbye cheerfully, leaving him anxious that she might post his flustered videos online, which could ruin his carefully built career. Overwhelmed, he collapses to the ground, attracting stunned stares from passers-by. At home, she lies on her bed, watching the video excitedly, blushing and hugging her pillow as if it were his face. As his biggest fan, she treasures every video and detail of him, from his flustered reactions to playing the Spot the Difference game inspired. She decides to keep the video as a lifelong memento. She even takes a screenshot of his embarrassed face and adds it to her room filled with his Instagram pictures, celebrating her admiration for him. A week after their last date, Yurina arrives panting, coat in hand, apologizing for being late due to a visitor. Yuki, wearing a judge's robe and a black cap to hide his identity, brushes it off, still anxious about whether she might have posted the previous video online. He's shocked, though, when she agrees to another date 3 days later, a shopping trip. Determined, he silently resolves to make her fall for him. At the nearby store, he shyly glances at her, impressed by her graceful outfit and figure. Thinking slyly, he offers to buy anything she wants, but when she enters the lingerie section, he freezes, unsure if she's mocking him again. Turning to tease him about being flustered around women's things, she reminds him he shouldn't be embarrassed. He scolds himself internally, knowing he is aware of these matters, and tries to refocus on his plan. He repeats his offer to buy anything she wants, but seeing her speechless expression, he realizes it might sound creepy to offer to pay for women's undergarments. Feeling guilty, he fears she might dislike him. When she reassures him he doesn't owe her anything, he breathes a quiet sigh of relief, hiding his flustered face. Noticing his misunderstanding, she playfully lets him choose anything that suits her. Flustered as usual, Yuki misinterprets again, thinking she wants him to romantically pick whatever he likes for her. He studies the garments intently, watching her closely. Anything would suit her, though some white pastel pieces with lace would look perfect. Suddenly, he scolds himself for overthinking, worried she might tease him. Overconfidently, he jokingly suggests buying something extremely erotic or black to turn him on. Seeing her raise an eyebrow, he smirks mischievously, thinking his plan is working, but she calmly tells him to consult a specialist if he really needs extremes due to a serious condition. Embarrassed, he quickly covers her mouth, shouting for her to stop, though she continues encouraging him, saying there's nothing to be ashamed of. Relieved that she's fine with all choices, she clarifies she wasn't asking about his own preference. She just wanted her to pick what suits her best. Seeing her laugh and tease him again, he jokingly blames her for asking a man about such things, feeling it borderline perverse. She calmly points out that the man had already chosen plenty for her, leaving him shocked. Finally changing the topic, she suggests he give her a little time to shop on her own. Sitting and waiting, he's impressed by her confident, natural ease in the store, a place he rarely visits, and quietly concludes that the pure and innocent girl he imagined has a surprisingly bold side. Curling his arms around his legs, he watches her, flustered, as she smiles, holding a sports bag and apologizing for being late. Noticing his shocked expression, she cheerfully explains she came just to buy sports items, and playfully teases him for thinking she expected him to buy ladies' stuff for her. Hearing all this, he blushes furiously and shouts at her for bringing him to the store on purpose. She smiles at his flustered face, enjoying his reaction, which only makes him more embarrassed and irritated. Calming down, he explains that she wasn't lying. Her father often chose such things for her at school. He smiles, secretly enjoying the situation, while his reddish cheeks betray his embarrassment. She teases him again, asking what he would choose if she were to buy a few undergarments, basic, white, or pastel, perhaps with lace. His shock deepens, sweat forming on his forehead, and he denies ever saying anything. She giggles, claiming she can read his mind. He immediately stops her, teasingly demanding she does not look at him, but she only laughs, keeping her composure, leaving him both flustered and powerless. A few days later, during their next meeting, he thinks this could be a special moment, a fan getting the chance to dance with him for a short video. With that in mind, he invites her to dance together. Seeing her puzzled, he reassures her it's just a brief YouTube clip for her memories. Excited and relieved, she agrees and suggests wearing something comfortable. He feels thrilled. This could be the moment to make her fall for him. As she starts removing her hoodie, he quickly stops her, flustered, explaining it's only for the video. Noticing his embarrassment, she smiles and offers him the matching jersey, explaining that couples usually wear the same outfit in such videos. He hesitates, seeing the men's jersey, worn and seemingly her boyfriend's. Angrily, he considers refusing, but she explains it's actually her father's old high school jersey. Relieved, he accepts it, smiling as he prepares to wear it. Seeing his shocked reaction to the old jersey, she reassures him it's been properly washed. Then, reminding him of his plan to make her happy, she asks him to wear it. Thinking it's just for fun, he immediately puts it on and begins stretching, demonstrating the moves for her to try later. As he tries to guide her, he grows frustrated. She barely lifts her arms or moves at all. Despite repeated attempts over 30 minutes, she shows no progress, leaving him disappointed. Yet he refuses to waste the moment, wanting to capture her embarrassed reactions. With a mischievous smile, he teases her about her clumsy moves, but flushes when she immediately apologizes for not knowing the dance. He tries to embarrass her further by asking if she even enjoys dancing, but she shyly explains that she's not interested in dancing. She's just watching because she loves him, making his cheeks burn crimson. As she adds that watching him dance brings her so much joy, he blushes and offers to dance for her. Turning on the recording, he moves with effortless grace, spinning smoothly, sliding across the floor, and hitting sharp, precise poses with his arms. His body flows with the rhythm, mixing energetic footwork with subtle, charming gestures, each movement perfectly timed. Yet, wearing her father's oversized jersey, he quickly sits down, embarrassed at how awkward it feels, though seeing her so happy leaves him both flustered and confused. Noticing the bold name on the jersey, he asks about it. She explains it belonged to a woman who is now her mother, prompting him to suggest she speak plainly. She further reveals that her father dated his mother in high school, leaving him mesmerized by the long-standing connection. Realizing how special this moment must be for her, he looks at her with a racing heart. Seeing his embarrassed expression, she teases him but quickly changes the topic, saying her parents weren't always loyal. Noticing his mood shift, she smiles slyly, admitting she was teasing. With a flushed, flustered face, she admires her parents, while he is mesmerized, staring at her expression. Both quickly sit down, and his racing heart tightens. Realizing they might share the same feelings, she transfers the video to her phone, thanks him happily, and says goodbye after recording one more, leaving him shocked as he tries to stop her. That night at home, she lies in bed, blushing as she replays his recent dance video, captivated by how innocently he agreed to wear the jersey. Affectionately, she hugs her phone, completely charmed by Yuki's pure, innocent side. A few days after their date, she is surprised by the luxurious bar, so different from the simple entryway, which he happily admits is part of his plan to enjoy drinks without disturbance. When she apologizes for drinking poorly, he calmly brushes it off, assuring her it's no big deal. Suddenly, a few customers who recognize him approach eagerly, asking about his date with another girl. Annoyed, he shouts at them to stop, while Yurina excitedly reveals she knows all their names: Kusan, Yuki-san, and Ryo-san from the amusement channel. Ryo, charmed by Yurino's cute nature, asks if he's already spent time with her, and he loudly scolds him, teasingly warning him not to say anything inappropriate. Yurina laughs and walks away. As they leave, he feels anxious, worried that she might expose the truth, that not only did not he enjoy their time together, but she also secretly made 2 embarrassing videos of him. His thoughts pause when he notices her impressed by his connection with famous people. Though he has even stronger connections he could share, he now decides to keep them to himself. While sipping her drink, she admires the delicious cocktail, and he thinks about his plan to make her slightly tipsy so he would willingly delete his embarrassing videos from her phone, which is protected by face lock, making it easier. With this in mind, he instructs the receptionist to serve her the deceptively sweet pink cocktail. While sipping her drink, she glances at his blushing face and asks if he suspects his plan to make her a little tipsy. At first he hesitates, worried she might misunderstand and think he has some ulterior motive. Flustered but smiling, he decides to play along with her misunderstanding. Yet, when she cleverly asks that his goal is to have her delete the videos from her phone, he stammers brokenly, laughing awkwardly, explaining that uploading his embarrassing clips would trouble the entire group. She calmly smiles and nods, agreeing to delete the videos on one condition: he must show her his cool side. Accepting the challenge, he immediately calls his group members at the club, suggesting a dart game. Noticing Ryo's hesitation, he teases him not to be afraid, realizing that his only goal is to impress Yurina. Ryo agrees to the rules. Whoever scores 0 points first wins, and he offers the first turn to him. Holding the darts confidently, Yuki urges Yurina to watch him closely, and in no time, he lands all the darts perfectly in the center. He stands proudly, soaking in her impressed gaze. Meanwhile, Ryo, already knowing the rules, realizes he's just aiming for the perfect center and throws his dart. Yurina, happily holding his hand, asks if he really threw all his darts. Realizing something is off, he instantly pulls his hand back, looking at her with a shocked expression. Then, Yuki realizes his mistake when Ryo professionally throws a single dart in such a way that all his darts fall, while the members cheer and tease him. Frustrated, he blindly tries to drink more. When she notices, leans closer and gently holds his face. She removes her jacket with a romantic smile, saying it's hot, and wraps her hands around him. Seeing this sweet, romantic side of her even while drunk, he becomes completely mesmerized. Torn between deleting the videos and enjoying the moment, he quickly drinks again, and when the system declares Ryo the winner with 0 points as per the rules, he is embarrassed to have lost the game with only 18 points. Yet Yuki instantly feels happy when she asks why he lost despite scoring high marks. Realizing she has no idea about the rules, he watches her deliver a playful barrage of fake smiles, letting her believe he actually won, though the drunk members fail to notice it. But then, seeing her cute, innocent face, he looks away, sadly confessing that he lost the game. His cheeks burn red with embarrassment, and he immediately hides his face while tears well up. He freezes in shock when she starts sobbing, eyes glistening with tears, and is stunned when she adds that she isn't even drunk. Earlier, after he left for the washroom, she had asked the bartender to make all her drinks non-alcoholic. He shouts in disbelief when Yurina, cheeks flushed, confesses that her whole aim was to see his blushing, flustered face. Now realizing how deeply he has been tricked by her, he sinks to the floor in disbelief, hiding his face as she comes closer. She deletes his previous videos. He looks at her in shock and disbelief, thinking he hasn't done anything cool for her. Calmly, cheeks flushed, she sits in front of him and confesses that she saw it as his cute, blushing side. Even as Yuki tries to speak, he becomes completely lost in her sweetness and radiant smile, not hearing a single word she says, and soon collapses into her lap. Shocked at first, she quickly realizes he is too drunk, but can't help smiling at his innocent, flushed face. Quietly, she muses that she has already copied all his videos before deleting them, a secret smile playing on her lips.
Here I am,